Hello, my name is Jan Thielemann, and in this video I want to talk about roles in iDempiere. And there's an interesting article on Chuck Bucking's homepage, which you can read. And yeah, basically what he says is that you want two tiers of roles in your iDempiere configuration. And that's a little thing I want to try out today and reproduce. So here I have my basic iDempiere installation. I logged in with SuperUser on the Garden World client with the Garden World admin role. And here I have the Garden admin user also on the Garden World client and with the Garden World admin user. So what I want to do now is I want to talk a little bit about the role window and then about these two different tiers you can have, which Chuck suggests. So yeah, you need administrator rights to open the role window. So you have to use either your admin user of your client or the super user or any other user with access. And then you can simply search the role window or locate it in sysadmin, general rules, security, role. And there it is. And because we may need it more often, we drag it to our favorites panel. So in the role window, you can see all the existing roles. For example, here we have the Garden admin role and the Garden user role, which are created by default. And now I can create my own role. And yeah, as always, I have to set the client and the organization of the role, the name, and some other mandatory fields. And yeah, the first mandatory field here is the name. So let's call this sales order window openability. Okay, so this will be a tier 2 role in like Chuck's article says. And the two tiers have meanings. The first meaning is you create a tier 2 role to provide abilities. And one ability could be to open the sales order. Or let's call this enter sales order. Okay, and the user level here is, for example, I can use client and organization data. Okay, so this is a master role, and this is what the two tiers of roles can be. So a master role, as you can see, if I uncheck it again, it has less fields, and as you see here, the org tab and the included role tabs, if I check it, they get invisible and won't be used for this role. And now I can use this role to define all my window accesses, my process accesses, which forms I can access, which info windows, which workflows I can access, which tasks I can run, and I believe these are also system tasks. Yeah, and which document actions I can run. Now here I have the ability to enter a sales order. So all I have to do here is create a new window access for the sales order window. And of course it is read-write, because otherwise I could not enter data in the window. So the second tier is abilities, things you can do. Open windows, start processes, and so on. And here you can, for example, group different tasks together, like entering and processing a sales order and call this thing, for example, sales order ability, or whatever. Whatever the naming conventions in your company are. And then I create a second role, and this will be my tier 1 role. And I call this, let's call it sales order clock. Clock. I think this is the correct writing. And here I will also use client and organization data. And on this role is my tier 1 role. And now I can start and assign this role to my users and include my abilities here. So the included role here is enter sales order. Save this. And yeah, as you can imagine, you create a bunch of different roles with abilities, and then you create your roles, your tier 1 roles, which is, for example, a role for your sales department, and you have a role for your production department, and so on. I think other people can describe this better, and there's a lot of books you can take a look at. But yeah, this is how you do it in iDempiere. So here I include all my abilities, and then I have to specify some other things. For example, which currency this role will use by default. So when I log in with this role and I create a new sales order, and the system is configured to take the currency from the role, then US dollar will be my currency on my sales order. And wherever I have currencies, it will probably use my roles currency. So here we have the approval amount, and what this means is if you create a sales order, for example, and you configured the workflow so that before or if the order reaches a certain value or a certain amount, then approval from the supervisor is required. And here you can specify the amount to which a user can buy or order something without approval. And then you have this accumulated approval, which works together with the days field right here. And then you can say, for example, my approval amount is 50 US dollar. Oh no, wait. I think this currency field has nothing to do with default values. I'm sorry. I thought about something other. I bet this currency is for this amount. So here you specify the approval amount and the currency. So for example, if how much euro is $50? $50 in euro. It's 44. So I could say I specify 50 US dollar, and then somebody who orders something for 45 euros would need approval. So then let's say it's okay that I have to approve orders with higher amounts, but what if one of my employees want to betray me or whatever and orders something for $49 10 times in a row? So then I can say, let's say you can only order values for $150 US dollars in total in a period of 5 days. So if I order something on day 1, day 2 and day 3, I can't order something on day 4 and 5 without approval, because then it would have reached my $150. Okay, this is approve own documents. So if I don't think that this is a good idea to use in conjunction with this, because if I can approve my own documents, then why would I specify an approval amount? This wouldn't make sense. So make sure that if you use the approval amount, then some other role should approve the documents. The menu tree field is used. So when you log in with this role, you can specify different menu trees. You could specify a menu tree consisting only of the project management directory here, and these few reports and processes and windows and workflows. Or you could leave it blank and use the default menu tree iDempiere provides. If you want to create your own tree, menu tree, you can zoom in here, create a new tree entry and use the tree maintenance window. What's wrong with the layout? And here, for example, I have this Jan menu tree, which has the cache reset and the sales order in it. So if I would assign my Jan menu tree here, then we can see that I will get a little different menu tree. So let's assign another user, and let's say this is garden admin here. Save this and go back to my role. Yeah, user assignment, by the way. If you want your users to be able to use this role, you have to assign them here. Or you can assign roles to a user in the user window and the user roles tab. This is basically the same table which is used, but it uses another parent. So here it is a table with two keys. Or is it? Yes, the AD user ID and the AD role ID are both keys of this table. And in the role window, the AD role ID is used for linking, so you only see the users from this role. And in the user window, the user ID is used to link, so you see only the roles for this user. Okay, so we assigned the garden admin. Let's change the role for garden admin and see if we can use our new role, but we can't. And of course, we also need to specify the organizations we can use to log in with. So, did I do everything I need to do? Let's log out and back in again. Garden admin, and change the role to sales order clock. So you see here, I specified only the headquarter organization, so I only can choose this and log in. And here's my really empty menu tree. But didn't I say I specified the cache reset? Yes, I did, but our role doesn't have access to the cache reset process. So I don't want to specify the accesses in my tier 1 role. So let's create a new tier 2 role, and I call this cache reset ability, because it's the ability to reset the cache. Save it, and on the process access, I add the cache reset process, and let's not check the read write, so you can see what it does. Log out and back in again. Oh, I forgot to assign the role to my master role. So where's my sales order clock? There it is. Let's include the cache reset ability here. Save this. Change the role. And now we can see the cache reset. And when we try to start it, we get this error message that we are not allowed to run this process. So you see, adding the cache reset process here will make it visible in my menu, but you can't run the process. So you always have to check the read write checkbox if you want users to be able to open or run this stuff. So let's try it again. Log out and back in, because the role access is cached, and if you change it, you have to log out and back in again, currently in the 2.1 release, but this may fix or maybe changed in the future so that you don't have to log out and back in again. And you see now I'm able to run my cache reset process. Okay, what else can I show you? Okay, let's talk about all the other fields. I think you got the idea of these fields here, these tabs here. So in your tier 1 role, you specify the organizations which you can use with this role and include all the different abilities, so the users can do some stuff, and assign the users to the master, not to the master, to the tier 1 role, because the master roles are the tier 2 roles in iDempiere. Yeah, and don't specify anything here. If not really necessary, it's a better idea to create another ability and include it. Okay, so what else do we have? Show accounting. With this checkbox, you will see another tab in some windows where you can change the accounts for some actions. For example, if you are in the product window, I believe there is a tab, but I'm not 100% sure about all the tables which have an accounting tab. You also can create your own accounting tabs. So if I use super user on the system client and go to window tab and field and use the sales order, for example. Okay, there's no such a tab. Is it in the product? Product, not process. Yeah, here's a accounting tab. And if you check this checkbox, accounting tab, then you will get your own accounting tab, and it will be invisible except your role has to show accounting checkbox here. Okay, override price limit. You may know or not know that you can set a price limit in a product. So when you create a sales order and you have some discounts, then the price will never be lower than the price limit. And with this checkbox checked, you are able to override the price limit to sell a product cheaper than the price limit defined in the product. Maintenance changelog. If I enter something in the field and hit right click it and hit changelog, then you see I get this little changelog here. Changelog. And this checkbox, I believe, is used to determine if you can use this functionality. So yeah, log out, garden admin, and yeah, since my role does not have it, I'm really curious what will happen when I try to use it. So here I have a changelog. And as you can see, the window stays empty. As yeah, you can see here the table with the old and the new values. So that's the maintain changelog. Access all organizations. If I check it, then let's first take a look at this one. So if I create a new entry here, you see only HQ is available. Okay, so if I check the access all organizations checkbox, the other two buttons down there, yeah, will get invisible, because now if I log out and back in again, open my sales order here, now I should be able to see every organization. So when I create new entries, I can use all the organizations, whereas if I change the role, I still only, oh no, here I also can now use all organizations. Okay, fine. So then we have this organization tree here, but this does not fully work yet. We talked about this just a few days ago, and how we can improve this, because this organization tree, if I zoom in it, it's the Garden World organization. Okay, Garden World organization is this one, and as you can see here, it has all the Garden World organizations in it. So if I save this and use my Garden World, my Garden admin user here, then you can see I only have HQ available, but in my sales order I also have only HQ available. Okay, so obviously this feature doesn't even work here. Today I tested it, I thought it would work, but apparently I made a mistake. Okay, so this needs some further development to fully work, but the intention behind this field, as far as I believe it is that when you set the organization tree, you don't need to specify the organization accesses here, and instead use the access from the organizations listed in the tree. Just like if I would use the access all orgs checkbox here, but instead it traverses the tree and uses the organizations here. So this does not work. That's sad, because this is already my third try to record this video, and yeah, in each try I found a bug, and last time I found this bug and I thought I now understand how to use it, but it does not work, so I need to do some more developing in this week to get this thing working. Yeah, use user org access. By checking this checkbox, the organizations you can log in with are not taken from the org access, but from the user. And in the user you also have this org access right here. So let's take a look at Garden Admin and say he can use store 1000. Save this, okay. And here I now delete this one, okay, and use user orgs instead, and save this. And you know, before we could use the HQ. Now when I change the role, I can only use store 1000, because I now don't use org accesses anymore. I wonder what will happen if I add HQ here, but normally it shouldn't be available. Okay, so log in, change the role again. Yeah, and only store 1000 is still available, because we only use the user org access instead of the role org access. Can report is in response to make this report button visible when you use this role, and you can attach processes to this report or create a report for the current entry or the current table or whatever. You can check or uncheck the can export buttons. So this little button, the export button, gets available, with which you can quickly export entries and sub-entries and import them on other systems, or import them in other systems or whatever, what you want. The personal log feature is also an interesting feature, which has a little bug I discovered in my first try to record this video. So by clicking on the personal log button, you get the ability to log records in any window. You get this little log right here. And now if I hit it and say private record log, nobody else me can see this entry. So if I now take a look for the sales order here, sales order with the document number this, you can see that it is gone. And if I open it, you can see I can find this. And also you can limit the access. So for example, I could use the garden admin role and exclude this from this entry. And then everybody except for garden world admin can see this entry. But as I mentioned, there's still a little bug in it, because if you log the record and not exclude another role, then the other role can't see any entries anymore. But the ID behind this is I log my record and then I specify the garden admin role to not be excluded, save this, and then I or me and the garden admin role is able to see the entry and nobody else. But let's remove this because I don't need it yet. I think that's the topic of complete video maybe, the personal log. And then there's the personal access, and that's the counterpart to personal log, because if I log an entry with a role which has personal log, and then I can use another role which has the personal access, and by checking the personal access, the personal log is simply ignored. So a supervisor, for example, could have a role which has personal access, and the workers have a role which has personal log, and then they can log their personal entries. And if they are ill, then the manager could still access this logged entry and unlock it so others can work with it. Confirm query records. Is used so that you get a little message which tells you that you try to query more entries than defined value. So let's say 10. If I would now query something and it would return more than 10 rows, then I would get a message which says, hey, you're about to query more than 10 records. Are you sure you want to do this? And this is good if you have a lot of users and a lot of load in your system, so that a user maybe creates a better query so that only one entry is returned, the entry he is looking for, and not 1,000 entries from all kinds. And that's not what we want. And if your system has a lot of load, then you can limit the maximum amount of queries, of entries which are returned. So if I specify 5 here and open the product window, I would only see 5 products, and then I would have to use the a query like this, where the entry is active, and let's make a parenthesis here. The entry is active and can export as no or whatever. Yeah, you get the idea. So, and then still only 5 entries will be returned, and if only 1 entry is found, then of course only 1 entry will be returned, but not more than 5. Okay, oops. 0, by the way, means no limitations, or system default. And as you can see here in the tooltip, the system default is 500. And yes. Next field, Access Advanced. There's not only a translation tab or a show accounting tab, there's also an advanced tab, and I believe it also has a checkbox in window tab and field, and then you can check the tab as advanced tab, and only if the role has this checkbox checked, then it can access it. The auto expand menu checkbox is used to auto expand this menu tree. If I check it and open the menu, then it's automatically expanded, and if you don't want this, you can still use the expand button right here. Yeah. Okay, what else? Allow info account and allow info schedule. Oh boy, to be honest, I have no idea what these two checkboxes are about, but I could imagine that it's either something with the schedule info here and the account info here. Could this be true? We have the schedule info available on our sales order clerk. Do we have checked it? Let's try this out. But I don't believe we can open. Oh, we can open this. Okay, and without the schedule? Ah, it's gone. But why does allow info account not work? I believe I know why. Because info access. Do we have the account right here? No, okay. And show accounting. Maybe these two together. And there we have the account info. Okay, so if you want to show the info account window or account info window, so these two, then you have to check these checkboxes. But if you want the account, then you have to enable show accounting, because otherwise, as you saw, you can't see this. Okay, so I hope this video helps you to get a better understanding of roles. As mentioned earlier, read the article from Chuck Backhand. It's yeah, a good explanation why you should use this 2 different tiers when you create your roles in iDempiere. And yeah, I think this name is stolen from him, but yeah, he has better names than me. Okay, so that's from me. I hope this video helps, and I see you soon in the next video.